subway versus an LRT. The subway folks seem to say that it costs less, and Dr. Canali has said the same thing, that it costs less in the long run to operate a subway. Just strikes me as intuitively unreasonable. And I would like the comments of the panel on that. You know, the cost to move the trains is going to be comparable. The big difference, though, is the stations. You've got, subway stations have got, you know, station attendants, escalators, ventilation, water leakage, all that kind of stuff that you just don't get in an LRT. It may well be that the track costs less to replace, but everything else underground's just got to be way more expensive. I just would like to get the comments of the folks on that point.
Okay, good question, because that is an argument that strikes a lot of people as being dubious at face value. But as I said at the very beginning, I like to base my arguments on factual data, and I'm not sure I'm getting the title right. It's the American Association of Rapid Transit, or something akin to that. And every year they issue reports on issues like this. And Dr. Canelli's position, and if she gets to the microphone, maybe she can elaborate on it, but her position and mine is drawn from their experience. It shows quite clearly over time that surface LRT is more expensive to operate for a whole bunch of reasons than subterranean or exclusive right-of-way, surface right-of-way subways. That's just simply a fact. And if you want to know more about that, ask Metrolinx, because they were anticipating an underground Eglinton all the way to Kennedy Road, but council decided to go on the surface, and that's going to cost them, according to their books, an extra $15 million a year in operating costs.
Okay, Angela, do you want to go next?
I just recall vaguely, it was very, in a cursory way, I think, generally speaking, and as I said earlier, I haven't delved into this operating cost thing. I will, obviously, it's an interesting area. I think, generally speaking, Councillor Kelly is right that the operating cost for LRT might be a little higher for various reasons. But I think if you analyze those costs on a per passenger basis or a per kilometer basis, I think that gap shrinks a little. I'm not sure what the question was. Yeah, I think that gap shrinks a little. So it really depends on, I think, a lot of different factors. If you have LRT in an area that's actually, you know, where it's actually suitable, I think those operating costs can be mitigated. I think part of the operating cost issues are maybe putting LRTs but in the law.
There's one corollary to all of this. The most affordable transit is the one that's the right size. If we don't want to go cap in hand, if that's a bad thing, then I guess we're sticking to the operating formula that we have now, which is that a portion of this will be paid for by the fare box and a portion by the city. In the case of the Shepherd subway that exists today, because it's underridden, because it's under capacity, we just sort of fortify it with, instead of that combination fare box subsidy, just a full 100% subsidy, to the tune of about $5 million a year. Maybe 7 is what we heard last night from the TTC. Well, actually the ridership's improved a little bit, so we heard last night the updated numbers is about 7. If you build more subway, you'll actually be increasing that problem, the number of sort of empty seats, if you will. The amount we have to fortify it with will be another 7 million for the first 5 kilometers, and then another 5 million for the 5 kilometers that goes down and into Scarborough Centre. So yes, it's true that surface subway is a big investment, unless it's the right size, and the thing you're comparing it to is the wrong size, and so you have to fortify it with $15 million worth of empty expense because it's not moving any rider anywhere.
If I may, Councillor Carroll pointed to what she considers the appropriate sized transit system to meet the demand. The projections indicate that within a decade, the demand, the ability of surface LRT to handle the demand will have been exhausted. There is no room to grow the ridership on a surface LRT. And if there is, it's, well,
10 years? That's not
all right.
true.
Well, you know, the first
You
report,
have to talk facts. You've been
Well, I'm
lying
talk-
to people in Scarborough.
No.
You've been lying for 3 months in Scarborough.
No.
You can't lie here tonight.
well,
Sorry.
it's regrettable that words like that would be
Cannot
used. We can compete
That
with
is
each
a lie.
other on using maybe different data or different sources of data, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now,
No. It's
that surface LRT will not meet the growing ridership demand on the Shepherd corridor. And it will fall, and if it tries to, it will become increasingly more expensive as time goes on.
Okay, on that note,
We're not going to lie to
and
you.
so